ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am introducing Big Will. Will, thank you for coming on. I've been looking forward to this.
All good, mate. All good.
Um, I'm going to dive straight in. I want to know who and what is doing well in online fitness because it's slightly different than it was even 18 months ago. And obviously, you're right in the trenches. So I want to hear from the horse's mouth.
Personal one-to-one coaching is not dead at all. I can't see things like AI and stuff like that without that genuine human sort of accountability person to understand people's why, to understand their stresses behind the scenes, their lifestyle and whatnot. I can't imagine things moving so fast that things are gonna sort of put a halt to what we're all doing. In terms of what's working, um, in terms of like maybe for clients or what's working in the whole sort of online
Well, I
space.
guess the reason I sort of wanted to have the convo was that I've had a lot of people that that did some work together with us a while back, and there's been like I don't know, there's been a few buckets. I would say some people have gone and sort of jumped into a very different style of coaching. Some
Mhm.
people have sort of jumped into back into a lot of in person. Some
Mhm.
people, I don't know, maybe they've left the industry. There seems to be this idea that the online, it's not even that online doesn't work because I don't, we all know that's not true, but market forces have definitely had an effect.
Mhm.
And the reason I was interested in chatting to you is because I know that you're someone who's making it work, and not necessarily like, and by the way, this is not a negative for people. Like there's a few people that have been on this and they're doing like men's work or like really jumped into a different sort of frame niche style of coaching. And I like your stuff because I think it's aimed at using all the tools that you just said, but it is a health fitness business offer still. You're not gone necessarily down the route of, you know, again, it's not a plus or a minus of like mindset or like men's work or that kind of stuff. So I'm just curious, like how you've been seeing people make this work, how you've kept making it work when some other people, maybe for whatever reason, it's either they've convinced themselves or not, it's not working, or maybe they actually are struggling. I don't know.
Yeah. What I've personally found is that, look, strategies on especially LinkedIn, like that's the only platform I use. I know that I need to move on to something else. Like it changes a lot. And sometimes when you actually think of it through the lens, I know people like don't sort of spray out loads or like spray and pray, hit up loads of DMs and stuff. But the thing is that you never know. Somebody might have tried to walk up a flight of stairs that morning to work and been like, shit, I'm panting like a dog. And a message just lands in their inbox at the perfect time. Like, I signed up one of my biggest clients ever from just doing that on I think a Wednesday afternoon, throwing out loads of lead magnets. He replied and had a call with him literally within 20 minutes, booked him into a sales call 2 days later, and that was 2.5 grand. But things changed. Like I remember one week early on in LinkedIn, like I put a poll out, 50 of people voted. I sent all of them a message, two of them replied. Within a week again, they were a client, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll just do that poll once a week, and then it's nothing since then. So I think it's um,
Do
coming
you
up with
think
some
it's
sort of
harder?
harder on LinkedIn.
Just generally, like the getting higher pay and premium clients. Do you think it's harder?
Mm, I don't think it's harder because my strategies and stuff have changed quite a lot. Like I'm doing LinkedIn ads now. Um, I think through what would have worked back in the day on LinkedIn, like I can just imagine like these high level guys are just getting blasted by everybody who are trying to sell something. So have to be a very good copywriter to try and sell in the DMs. So in that respect, it's changed a lot. But I think yeah, paid ads like it's like a cash machine at the end of the day if you're optimizing it correctly, and that's what I've moved on to, and that's very stable for me now.
And with organic still though.
Yeah, I sort of take my foot off the gas a little bit because I've just been constantly sort of pulling myself out and being like, where's the best use of my time to scale? And organic takes a lot of time, but now I'm starting to get a few people to do a bit of work for me that I can. Yeah, it's one of my goals just to do a LinkedIn live every week and to do more video-based content coming up over the next few months.
I'm going to come back to this because I'm still interested in chatting a bit more. Like, what's your background? So I don't know.
Just-
Have you
um,
always been in the fitness industry? Did you do something before it?
so I sort of started like when it comes to like choosing your GCSEs and like A levels and then uni stuff. Like I always sort of followed the crumbs of things that I was. It wasn't even that I was interested in it. It was actually a decision of what can I see myself like actually turning up to do. So it was sport based. Studied like sports coaching at uni, and then after that, done the typical just go toss it off in Australia for a couple of years after uni. Worked on building sites, and
Yeah.
then come back, and it was the World Cup when we got knocked out by Croatia, and I was like, didn't want to. I was just earning beer tokens, basically working on building sites again, just to catch up with all of my mates, and then got fired from a labouring job, like the the most basic job ever,
Fired
and
for.
just being lazy, man. Like I wouldn't say that I was depressed at all, but I just had a severe lack of motivation and drive, and I was rocking up late every day, basically. The site agent gave me a bollocking. My dad gave me another bollocking when I got home too early, and then I found a job tutoring a guy. I thought it was a tutoring job for a guy who had cerebral palsy, done a similar job to, sorry, a similar degree as what I did, and it was a full-time caring job as well. And I was like, I'm just going to immerse myself in it, use it as like a stint in jail, sort of for myself as a
And
bit
what
of
this was when? What age? Early mid
20.
20s.
I was 25 at that
All
point,
right.
so I still wasn't even in the industry. But I was studying a nutrition course whilst I was like, I need to make use of my time, and then started taking him to the gym. He was a little bit overweight, and then I just enjoyed being in that gym environment. The owner, well, the manager of the gym, she was really sound, and I said, "Oh, Debs, if I do a PT course, will you give me a job?" And she said, "Yeah." So then I studied that, got that boxed off, and then finished with him. Was a PT for about 18 months, and then first lockdown hit. Tried to do what I thought was online coaching, but it was meet on Zoom, blast people with some workouts, give them some macro targets, a bit of advice about their lifestyle, and yeah, just I thought I'd try growing a business with that. And then second lockdown, my mum and dad's I built a bit of a gym in the garden, was PTing off the back, like not really wasn't really able to advertise it, of course, because it wasn't legal. But that's when me and you first had a chat around that time.
So would you say you stumbled in the fitness? Like, did you train yourself?
Yeah, I trained myself. I went to uni in a place called Hartpury, and it was like really prestigious
Oh, right, yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
rugby, yeah,
And there were a
and
couple of
some
rugby
football
players
lads.
that came out of there. Who came out of there?
Yeah,
Was it
Ellis
Arundel?
Genge, Johnny
Oh, that
Hill,
was
not
it. Yeah, yeah.
Arundel, might be Reece Zammit from for Wales as well.
That was it. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. Um, so I was kind of in the gym like with some lads who, but I was skin and bones, man. I always say that I had the physique of Peter Crouch, like I was skinny. I played volleyball and it come in really handy for that because I'm all arms and legs basically. And it wasn't until I got back from Australia, I was still training a little bit myself, but then when I started working with this Joel guy, that had cerebral palsy, like I was hitting the gym hard. I put on within sort of 2 years of being back from Oz, like 20 kg, like some of it was body fat, but then I felt good, man. Like I was getting more attention from girls and stuff like that, and just had way more inner confidence because of that. And then that started to transfer into yeah things that I was focusing on myself, and yeah, I just quite like the thought of if that helped me, how could transforming other people's physique and health sort of affect them as well.
Were you driven as a youngster, or was it more just stumbling in and then? Because that sounds to me like there was a bit like I was a fuck up when I was my early 20s, like my real fucked up, like just didn't do anything, like, and then I got a job. I like, that's not probably true. Like I got a bit fucked up, and then I was like, I need to sort myself out because I weren't in a good place. So then I actually was like, I need to go to uni. I just started studying again because I knew I needed to do something. And then I got a decent job, but luck more than anything else because I knew someone, and then that didn't work out. And I was just a bit lost for quite a while. In fact, I was probably in most of my 20s, kind of just not sure what I wanted to do. And then I ended up just, I liked reading about, like you, I liked reading about nutrition. Like
Mm.
I was doing a trading job, which, you know, at the time was a really good opportunity. I wasn't very good at it, but I liked reading about training. I liked reading about nutrition. I'd go to the gym, and I was probably more interested in that than learning about what I should have been learning about doing, like the markets and that. And that's kind of, I just ended up getting sacked from that. And I was just like, I'm just going to do something that I enjoy. Like it wasn't really thought through. I saved enough to do like Premiere. It was like 4 or 5 grand. And I was just like, I was a bit lost at that point. I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do this because I enjoy. I never went into it thinking this could be a business. Like it was never, that wasn't in my mind. It wasn't like I'm going to start a business. It's just like I'm going to get a job doing something that I kind of like. Like was that similar or
Yeah,
that?
100%. I was basically at the time when like I was like, yeah, I'll do the PT stuff. Was literally because I was again just thinking. I was like, what can I just see myself like kind of wanting to do, like actually get myself there and maybe enjoy it. And then I love the PT sort of stuff. Like I love being in that environment. When someone said that it was like one of my friends who was a PT, he was like, mate, just the gym floor's like a sales floor. He's like, be there as much as you can. And I was that guy, just offering as many sessions as I could for free. I got, I wouldn't say fully booked, but 30 to 35 hours within 6 months. So I started to sort of, yeah, so just sort of gathering evidence of actually being like, do you know what? Like, I'm finding my feet here. I'm getting quite good at stuff.
Why
But
were you good at it? Because that's not normal.
um, personability, just having a good laugh with people. Like actually, my friend as well said he was like, actually write people's names down when you first meet them. So I'd say hello to someone, find their name out, and then go away and write their name down with something that would remind me of them. So next time they'd be in, and then I'd always just go and correct people's technique. And then most people just don't have the minerals to go up to someone and say that they need help. So just like putting yourself out there, becoming that one guy that people would go up to and ask for help, and then that just leads to yeah, a bucket load of clients.
So I'm assuming at some point income, like for me, I was a bit older, but like I was earning, sort of earning what I thought at the time was good money because I had some money coming in. Like I'd sell 10 blocks, I'd have some people
Yeah,
pay me in cash and all that kind of stuff back in the day. And then like sometimes I'd have a lot of money, and then other times, obviously, when it was a bit slower, it would be more difficult, and I'd have to avoid the gym manager to pay rent and that. But it did seem to me like at one point, so I didn't have any responsibilities. I was actually earning quite good money. Like I'm assuming at that point, income wise, seemed okay in the moment, right? If you're doing like 30, 35 hours.
yeah, but there's no obviously there's no training of like once you become a PT of how to manage a business. So
Yeah, yeah,
and
of
it
course.
literally was my gym manager at the time. This is why I look back and I'm like, everyone was fucking clueless. Like she said, the industry standard's 25 quid, and you just ask for someone to pay in a block of 10. But now it's like every 10 sessions that could take a month, could take a little bit longer. Like that person's questioning like what am I getting from this? Like am I hitting my goals? And you need to obviously now through learning the tricks of the trade with you, it's like now you need to create a package around what their ultimate sort of version is, and like have these little checkpoints of where they need to get to and try and tie them into the long-term vision. Financially people bought into it at that point, and that yeah, so it got a bit of bad advice at first. I think the money was okay, but where it was in blocks of 10, like I was getting cash as well, and yeah, I was a weekend offender at that time of my life as well, so I couldn't tell you how much I
Thanks.
was on. Yeah,
I guess where were you located? It's Southampton.
Hampton, yeah.
I think it made a difference for me that I was in London. Like
Mm.
just even the numbers that people were selling at even back in the day, like there was a sort of, I wouldn't say there was an official minimum, although I actually think in the gym we were in there was a minimum that you could charge, because they didn't just want a race to the bottom. And because I was in the city, I think that, it was more like 50 quid, like £50 an hour. Eventually, me and Phil started charging a bit more than a lot of other people. And then we started doing monthly and all that sort of stuff. Um, so what happened when you, and this isn't about like me and you working together. I'm more interested in like what surprised you, what was different about the first step into doing online that you're now doing it, Like, what surprised you when you first started?
Because it literally the whole high ticket online world, like it just didn't exist in my mind until I spoke to Harry Pereira, and he said he was like, I just sold a program for 1,200 quid, and I was like, who is paying that sort of money? I was like, and then that was my first understanding that that world existed, and I was like straight away drawn into it. I was like, I want to be financially free one day. So then, the biggest thing that sort of shocked me was that this industry existed, that people would actually pay that sort of money for a service that you don't even see them in person. So I wanted to work out sort of how it all works and stuff, and yeah, I think I remember reminding you on some of the sales trainings back in the day that I must have been the easiest sell, because I was, as soon as all you had to do on that call was tell me what existed, and you're like, you even mocked my sort of current business at the time, and it did make me laugh. But I respond well to that sort of, I don't know, you call it antagonization maybe. But you asked me what I was doing. It was in second lockdown. You asked me what my online business looked like, and I said that I was still doing some PT on the side under the radar because of COVID. And you just said to me, you were like, "That ain't a business, mate." Seriously, I was like, "Really?" I thought I'm doing quite well. And you're like, "Yeah, no, there's people doing." Oh, sorry, someone's calling. And you said, "No, there's people doing 10K inside our program over here," and I was like, "10K a month." I was like, "Fucking hell!" I was like, "I want to do it. Let me do it."
What
Basically,
makes someone like? I guess what makes, I think I remember our convos. I don't, because from my perspective, like as the person at the other end, and you know this now, there's sometimes these people that are like they just want to buy it straight away, but you have to sort of navigate. Are they the people that actually mean that, or are they the people that say this stuff and then? I tell you what, Gavin was the first client I recall being that kind of sale, and I remember going to Glenn. And I was really confused. I kept asking him like trying to dig, and he was just not interested. And it was like, and he was just so matter of fact. And then I sort of got a little bit of pleasure, but it was just not like the digging thing. It just wasn't there. And he's like, "No, things are okay. Things are okay." And the call was real quick. And then eventually, I just made him an offer. And in my mind at the time, I was like, I just don't know if he's gonna. I didn't know he was gonna say yes. And when I said, he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I remember going to speaking to Glenn. I was like this really confused me. He goes, "Yeah, this is what you need to learn. You need to now know these people are just there to buy." But it's sometimes hard to navigate that. I think from memory, it was quick, but I don't know. I don't. Did we have more than one call?
yeah, basically because I was strapped for cash at the time. And I said to you, I was like, look, I 100% want to do it. I was like, just let me go away and speak to whoever I need to. I was going to ask my dad, but and he probably, I don't know if he would have, because he's sort of, yeah, he's sort of that generation. He don't really get it, to be honest. Like investing in yourself. But I remember going out for a walk with a good friend of mine, and he just said to me, he's like, "Mate, what's up with you?" I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "Nothing really." I was like, "I've just been offered to do this program, but I can't really afford it." And it was like, I think it was like 4 installments of 1,500 with you lot. And he said, "Mate, I'll loan you it," because I helped him out when he was struggling before. So he loaned it to me. And then yeah, I think he said, he goes, "I'll cover the first 2 installments just in case." He was like, "But use it as a goal to, um, like by the second month that you're paying it back." I was like, "Yeah, of course." And I remember I made my first sell, um, yeah, just on the sort of 2 month mark, and then was able to pay him back straight away.
Well, look, people, the joys of Wi-Fi. So we got cut off. It seems so. This bit would have just been edited out. Um, where did we leave? We're talking about sales and talking, you coming aboard and me
Yeah, I was
slightly
an easy
wanting more
sell saying about
business.
some
And then we got
people.
into another chat about Gavin and that. Like the reality is, like in the end, you started doing this coaching thing online. You didn't know that it existed. Why, as far as the end user, as far as your clients, like what surprised you about that?
Um, I think what I don't know. I think it's more of a mindset shift that you need to help people overcome on a call, because a lot of people are still skeptical. They're like, but I don't see you in person. But when you actually educate them about the health and fitness space, it's like the exercise component of, say, a fat loss client, like it's a very small component compared to nutrition and overall lifestyle. So it's your skill on the call as being able to actually help this person fully understand what it is that you offer, and to help them understand what are the other options. Because yeah, PT is great for some people if they really need accountability around exercise, their execution's crap, and they know how other things sort of work in terms of like nutrition and whatnot. But I think actually helping them understand on a call, um, it's the whole 168 hours inside a week that matters, rather than 2 to 3 or 4 hours of training. That's what I really start helping people understand on a sales call. So you get that little shift with them. Um, but they obviously may be predisposed to understanding that. But if not, then that's your job on a sales call to help them understand that.
And do you find that the clients that you have these conversations with, have they done online stuff before and had a good bad experience, or is it mostly that they've just done PT before, or they think PT is the answer? Like, have they experienced other programs?
Yeah, it's an even bunch really. Like I've got quite a lot of people who have had PTs before, and then have sort of come to that realization themselves that if they actually want to get to where they want to get to, they need to find the discipline to train themselves. I've had a lot of people who have never experienced anything before, not any sort of coaching to do with to do with their health. So even split really. Like, I couldn't really put a number on it.
And the ones that have had a program before, like what's the situation there? Like because they must compare what you're doing to what, you even mentioned at the beginning of the call, like AI. I was having this conversation with someone else and I was like, I don't know, I'm probably geeking out a bit. I was like, I don't know, even if we could program an AI to know what to say to the level of a good coach, I don't know if people would still follow it, because it's part of, if you understand like the depths of good coaching or human psychology, is that I've said it to someone that I'm going to do this thing. And so as soon as I do that, law of consistency says that I will then follow through, because especially the guys I'm assuming you work with, they're generally guys that if they say they're going to do something, they do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be where they are in business and life. And so then I was like, I don't think even if the AI was good enough, I don't think people would interact the same with it. Now, we obviously got into the depths of geeking out on that question, but if they've experienced something before, like what do they say to you while they're doing the work with you that seems different to what they've done before then?
I always help people understand that like health transformation is all in the basics. And look, you can go away. It doesn't take a genius to understand that 8 to 10,000 steps a day is great for fat loss, calorie burning and stuff like that. So the way that I package it all together is creating them a system basically that, say, with like driving instructors, and I've got another coach here now called Lewis. I was like, what we're going to help you do is to integrate your health alongside business and your family's life to the point of autonomy. So kind of like driving instructors, you come to us, you get your license in a sense, you know how to drive that car for the rest of the time yourself. So um, that's the position that I sell the program into, but I do highlight it's all in the basics to them. I say to people at the end of a program, I'm like, you will not get it any different anywhere else. Like what we've mastered in the last 3 or 6 months, like this is what has brought success. This is what's going to continue to bring you success. So don't get distracted by anything else. Like you've done it. Now it's time for you to stick it on autopilot.
Yeah, nice. And what is, do you do group? Do you do one to one? Like, what's the current
One,
situation?
yeah. So one to one. I don't do in-person coaching, sort of like Zoom coaching as much anymore. The accountability in that sense is a monthly coaching call, and we just say
Okay,
that
nice.
that's like a checkpoint call. But they have a weekly check-in. It is a Loom video, but it is very, very detailed. Still use PTD, the app from you guys that you suggested. I think the video, sorry, the photos of food diary is like a game changer because there's no hiding. And it just makes the whole sustainable sort of methodology that I've got way more actionable, because it's actually training somebody's eye, and therefore their sort of impulsive behaviors around food, if they know what it should be visually, then that's something that's going to last forever for them. And to
Do
have
you
sort of
train? Do you teach
frameworks.
calories?
I don't. There's some clients, if they've been like at a plateau, and I might have a sneaky suspicion that they're not taking photos of everything, then we might just take them through a period of a couple of weeks to 2 to 4 weeks of like calorie tracking. But I think just like it's another like sort of selling point for me on a sales call. I'm like, you're way too busy to be weighing individual bits of food. You eat out so much, and there's discrepancies in that. And do you really want to sort of get your wife or someone to, or yourself, to weigh out like different portions of family dinners as well? So yeah,
Yeah, nice.
sorry,
What
that's
personally,
the
what's the
weekly
plans going forward
check-in.
then? We were chatting before.
Okay, plans moving forward.
Well, we've
So I've
got a
got
delay wheel going on.
that's all good. Plans moving forward. Like now, people call it that eat shit phase in business, where you're doing absolutely everything. That I'm over that. So now for me, it's really scaling. That's building a team out. Sort of like draw a line in the sand over the last sort of few weeks of every client that comes in. Like my coach Lewis, like I've got him really, really up to scratch. He's a great coach anyway. But for me to onboard a client, then have a separate call, which is a kickoff call with Lewis, and then that's it. So I don't have to actually coach the client. I always drop in anyway, because I do love sort of witnessing firsthand like the effects of a health transformation. But yeah, it's really to sort of put on that business building hat now, and it's I've been sort of spending a bit of time designing my new role, and it's just whatever business development manager would be. So I'm doing lots of dials because of ads. I'm sending little personalized videos on LinkedIn just to
Did you
reignite
say
conversation.
dials?
Yeah. That's the ad system that I'm rolling with. So they come in through LinkedIn and then dial them. It's not a cold call, but yeah, surprisingly, I thought you get quite a lot of douchebags, people who are giving you shit. Like some people do that, but yeah, it's pretty easy, to be fair, if you just get over that first hurdle of, oh my god, I was a PT, trained in nutrition, now I'm a phone call salesman in a sense.
Do you enjoy? Like I saw your post the other day. Like I was chuckling away about it. Like giving someone a call on a Friday and then telling you to piss off. Like,
It was
do
a
you enjoy
Thursday
the
as well. It was
business
a
side of it, the sales part of it?
Um, yeah, I do enjoy it. I think bringing it back to some of the fundamental shifts that you helped me back in the day was like that transformation legitimately starts on that call. Like a conversation of 45 minutes to an hour. If you make that, like we do it week in, week out, that person, that could be the only conversation that they've ever had, that has literally, you've hit them with that question, which is that punch in the solar plexus. They're like, shit, I need to change. So I enjoy that element of it. Um, but for me to do that, that's what my role is sort of moving into, is just doing that. Like, well, it will be hopefully over the next few months up to 4, 5, 6 hours a day. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't mind sales. It's what's going to grow the business the most, and it's what's going to tie in with the sort of vision that I've created for myself and my sort of future family and stuff. So it's got to be done. Isn't it?
Yeah, nice. I agree. Like it's interesting 'cause we have this conversation about like whatever I said. What I said to you. I did one of these with Ryan, and he was telling me about like when I sold to him, and I feel rude because like I'm like we were both there. Like I should remember it as much as him, but the reality is when you're doing like 1,000 sales calls, like it's hard to remember every single one. And it just happens that, that however many say yes end up being your clients. But for the person at the other end, it's like, maybe they've had conversations with someone else, but, that's happened once to them. When you're at the other end, you're doing it 1,000 times. So it's interesting because I spoke to Ryan and he was like, He's like, you told me how much it was, and then it was just like you were just silent, and it's like it was the longest 10 minutes of my life, and I was just cracking up when I was saying it. I was like, yeah, I probably would have done that, and he was like, it was weird, and then we had a real good. I found this really interesting because he was like, and I said to him like, what? So you didn't like the tension, and he was like, ah, and then he started saying, I didn't feel it as tension in the moment. I felt it as pressure. And he goes, but I realized like 2 years later when I was doing a bit of work on it, it's like, no, that was just tension. There was just silence. I didn't say anything. I generally wouldn't. And he was like, I was so thankful that I had experienced that. And I feel the same way about when I got sold into a program by Glenn. Like he I got on the phone with him and I think, and I'm pretty sure it was July, and I think I gave him the I'm gonna come back in September because no one buys fitness in August. And obviously he was a very good salesperson, and he just called me out on it. And I can't remember what he said, but he took me from that moment of doubt to paying him the money. And it was like 6 grand, 7 grand, something like that. It wasn't cheap. And I was like, if he hadn't known how to do that, like maybe things would have been different. I don't know, maybe I'd figured it out somewhere else, but maybe not. Who knows? And I was like, I was so thankful that Glenn was that good at sales to be able to, and he wasn't doing anything devious. He just asked me simple questions, and I was like, and I remember thinking like, he's right. There was almost like nothing I could do about it because he asked me the right question and he was right with what he said, and I was like, oh fucking hell. And then I paid him the money, and I find that as well. I agree with you with the sales stuff. It's like even just one or two questions could be the thing that makes someone realize like, shit, I need to fucking do something about this. Like otherwise, people just bury their heads in the sand.
Hmm, for sure. What I sort of reflected on personally with my call with you that got me into the program is that um like this is where I think like me and Harry have had so many conversations about our own development and like how it ties in with the stuff that you taught us as well. Like we just both think you're a really good coach, and like it is like that sales call is an art of coaching as well. But I'm sure if you said what you did to me to somebody else who I wouldn't say that I was thick skinned, but you took the piss a little bit. You're like, that ain't a business, mate. But that pressed my button enough to actually be like, fuck, like there is this world that I don't know exists. And if someone's doing it, then I can do it. Just give me the blueprint, basically. But I do look at a lot of my sales calls and sort of try and figure out, I'm like where was that sort of big punch of a question maybe. And I think that it just comes sort of intuitively to yourself in a moment if you are a personable person, if you just listen. Like that's the biggest thing I took from you guys is it should be 90% them talking and then just me rewinding to something that they said 5 minutes ago and be like that could be it, and then you pull upon all these little things. So I enjoy it because it is like sales calls literally fly by like that hour. Like, I'm so engrossed in it, and I think when you actually go in with the mentality of I'm going to listen, I'm here to serve somebody 100%, and then that can hopefully authentically sort of rub off onto them, and they realise you're doing it for them. Like it's money for sure, but like the biggest way to grow your business is getting good results, which I've found, and it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah, for sure. What did you learn about sales over the last sort of 6, 7 years then? Like what's like if someone was listening to this and you were teaching them, like what would you say a few sort of fundamentals are?
You're never going to sell anybody who's in a logical part of their brain. Like emotionally, you need to tie that into running away from pain for sure. And like with weight loss clients, there's a lot of that. I'm getting quite a lot of guys through the LinkedIn ads who are optimizers, which I call them. Like there's not a lot of pain at all.
Yeah,
And if you
nice.
spend too long trying to find that, then you're gonna the call's gonna tank. So you have to really step into that future state, like push them towards pleasure. So yeah, it's being able to adjust your own style for sure, like quickly, like at the drop of a hat with like just one thing that somebody says. You're like, okay, cool, this is that type of person. Um, so yeah, it's just being able to adapt. You've got to learn a whole skill set yourself. Like, there's nothing better than reps, of course. Like, I couldn't work it out how many I've done, but it is well into the hundreds now of sales calls. So it's that experience. You just, yeah, you know what to do in a moment, and it just comes basically.
do you have a structure that you use, or is it more intuitive now? Like, did you
Yeah.
kind of involve scripts and that, or how did you do that?
The thing is, I've been using Claude to help me try and find pivotal moments in calls, like through transcripts and whatnot, and then to build a bit more of a framework with that. As my
Nice.
sales numbers through the ads haven't been as great since I was doing that, and then I just sacked it off. And I've got a basic framework in the back of my head anyway. I use like a slide deck as well now, which makes it a bit more visual, to hit home on some of the points as well, just in case someone's a bit more of a, yeah, just a visual sort of learner. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's something that just gaining the experience doing the reps, like you end up just adjusting in real time. Basically, it is a human being. And that saying that you say about old Mike Tyson, everyone's got a plan until he gets punched in the face, like it's legit in sales for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you about the like I coaching and sales I think are different for sure. They're definitely differences, like a sales call and a coaching call, but you're still trying to persuade someone, you're still trying to move them to do in the end what you want them to do, but you want them to do it because it's in their benefit. Like that for me is some of the skill of coaching. Like I was thinking about this not long ago. It's like I can't just tell someone to do it because I know it's the right thing to do as a coach, like because they'll just get in their ego. And I imagine this is especially with the type of clients that you work with as well. Like they're not pushovers. They're not, they've got to where they are for a reason. Now I'm sure some of them are really humble, but you'll also get some of them that are stubborn or like push back, and like you break rapport with those guys and they'll just, you know you need to gain their, I don't know whether it be respect or get a meaningful win, and then they'll start actually allowing you to lead. But going in there with like just all guns blazing without that rapport build, they'll just push back. And I think the further you go up with the type of clients you work with, the more that you need to kind of, it's not gain trust, but I think with coaching, it's the same. It's like sometimes in the back of my head, even more recently, I mean, like, oh, why can't I just fucking tell this person what to do? And then I'm like, because it just does not work. Like it doesn't work. And I think for me personally, the reason I initially liked sales so much is because it taught me this in such a intimate, short environment. Like I could get on the phone and I could sell, you know, even upsells, etc. But like, let's bring it back to like the front end. Like, I could get on the phone, I could sell a program for a lot of money. And that was like 45 minutes, and it was just like the best learning process I could ever go through. And it's like, if I push too hard, they're just on a sales call. They're just like, they'll feel it. They'll feel you're trying to sell them, and they'll check out, and you don't collect the money at the end. And so that's why I liked sales originally. Like, I appreciate you saying about being a good coach. I think I learned a lot of that on sales calls, like that art of communication.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think like one of the biggest fundamentals of coaching anyway is to tell the truth. And like if
Yeah, go on,
you
tell me, what does
tell
that mean?
like there's a line that I say a few times with some bigger weight loss clients, just and it is the truth, and it's what they need to hear. It normally goes along the lines of once they've sort of dropped in like their kids or whatnot, and I might just say like, look, God forbid it, but if something quite bad happened to a child of yours 200 to 300 meters away, like how long would it take you to get there? And remember the last guy said, he goes, no, I'll get there so quick, don't worry about that. I was like, okay, fair enough. And then Tim's silence, I'll just let him sit in it. And then he said, yeah, whether I'd be much use when I'm there. I'm like, is that true? And then he said, yeah, no, it'll probably take me a few minutes to recover. I'm like, okay, so what does that say about your fitness levels and how it's affecting your wider life? Like at the end of the day, if this guy was in a burning building, again, his family or in a house or something, like they'll struggle to get their family out. Like that's just telling the truth, letting them sort of understand that it's dangerous. It can be dangerous what they've let themselves get to. So
Yeah, nice. I think that goes back to what I said about like just asking the, like Glenn, that he just asked me questions, and like obviously he learned this stuff, like there was a way of structuring it, but he just asked me the right questions, and I was like, it wasn't that there was no way out, but he got the truth out of me. Like he got the truth out of me, and he was like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he got me to change my mind, or I'd say actually just not fall for my own bullshit, like not like make. I was just scared. I think well, and definitely was actually, and I think he called me out on that. The pathway that you got. So someone comes in, they've had a good convo with you. What's the pathway they go through? Like, sort of 3 months, 6 months? Do they stay with you for longer? Like, what's the journey?
Yeah, so I only sell 3 to 6 month packages, and again, it's like I'm always shaping it around this driving instructor analogy. Because I even say to people so many times in the program, I've got Coach Lewis to say it a lot. It's like, can you see yourself doing this in 6 years' time?
Yeah,
Like, if
nice.
the answer is no, then it shouldn't be part of the 6 month plan right now. And it just helps us with them sort of really strategize. We have a little thing called a problem and solution call in the program outside of their weekly check-in, monthly coaching call, so they can book in as many as they need. I'm like, cool, just utilize that service. Like, we need to understand what's going on behind the scenes, to help, yeah, create the strategy, like the path of least resistance for you. So I'm always, I'm quite generous with my coaching. Like when I was doing a lot of one-to-ones myself, sometimes I might even just say to them, I'm like, cool, you sign up for a 6 month program, but we've got 1 month left. I want you to go away for your own, like do it yourself for a month, take the stabilizers off, and then we have that call in 4 weeks' time. And then we get back involved with some accountability. So my number one aim is to always serve the person who's in front of me, and sometimes that is they need a constant sort of attention, constant accountability. Could be at the 6 month mark, and I'm like, look, I personally want to help you understand. I've worked with someone in a similar position and they weren't ready, because I've experienced that. Someone come back to me a year later, they're like, Will, can we coach again? I've put on 2 stone again. So I help them understand that, all with their best interests at heart, for sure. Like, I don't personally push for an upsell at all. I do it when I feel that they have sort of given me an inkling of they respect a bit more support. So that's when I do it.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was a personal trainer, I had clients for like 7, 8 years. Like they looked the fucking same as they did in month two.
Mhm.
Like they lost a little bit of weight in the first month or so because they just paid a personal trainer, and maybe they didn't eat the donut or the muffin with their coffee. And I had clients that were just like they were I mean, they're strong and all fitter and all that sort of stuff, but they just looked the same. And that's one of the things that I was, because when I first went online, I didn't obviously have the structure you guys had. I just Glenn really just taught me how to sell stuff. There wasn't really any structure. There was no 12-week blueprint. There was nothing like that. There was coaching models kind of came as part of the sort of first 18 months of just learning and doing things with clients, and then thinking, "Oh, I'll put this there and that." And I was real fucking surprised how much better results the clients got. And I think also I guess one of the issues as well is like, in some way, is personal trainers think, well, is it better to just have that consistent money from someone who's paying me as a fucking babysitter for 7 years? Because online coaching actually solves problems, like really solves them. Like, I wouldn't say once and for all, but properly. Um, I was surprised. Like, I was really shocked that there was this way of doing things that I certainly wouldn't have believed that you got better results with online coaching. Like, maybe I could have been persuaded that they would be as good, but I certainly wouldn't have thought they would be better. Like, did that surprise you, or does sitting here now, does it surprise you? Like, if you were thinking back to the version of you that was personal training people.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I remember it really, like the penny really dropped for me with just one client. I think
Yeah.
I was maybe like sort of 6 months in with you guys, and then I worked with a guy who, um, like he respected the whole sort of the hour conversation, like the sort of life coaching basically around those coaching models, reflecting over who you are, and then projecting yourself into the future and stuff like that, and then what legitimately could what are the 5 reasons why you can't sort of achieve what you've sort of created through that character statement. And then when he actually said to me that he didn't even tell his wife that he enrolled in the program because he's failed on so many things before. And it actually saved his marriage because his wife was, yeah, he was depressed. Like he had no energy. He was out of shape. And then it wasn't until 12 weeks later he said, "Will, I didn't tell my wife." Um, and yeah, just sort of that him literally saying that. Like, I remember leaving the call. I was like, I found it. I was like, I found what I want to do. And I didn't think, yeah, I didn't think it was possible not seeing somebody. But I think if you've got the right type of person and you've sort of, yeah, treated, well, you've really got to the depth of that inner reason why, and helps them to sort of gather evidence to get there. Um, then yeah, like you don't need a PT at all.
What do you think the future of the coaching industry looks like? I mean, I asked you at the beginning the state of it. Like, what do you think the future looks like? Are you shitting
To be
yourself
honest,
about AI? Do you think like everyone's going to just get the jab, or like are you still confident that this is the business you're going to be doing for the next? Don't know.
I've I've come up with some plans to sort of try and pivot myself when the time is right. But I have a old client of mine who's really big in, like, is the CEO of like an AI and robotics company, and he jumps on a call. Um, he jumps on a call with me just to sort of help me understand. He said, obviously, every industry is going to have a massive shake-up. But he even said, he goes, well, people are going to have these devices in there, like they'll have a blood work machine in their house. He was trying to create what this futuristic world will look like. He was like, it'll be able to take your bloods, it'll automate delivery of food to your fridge, all according to your deficiencies or whatever trace minerals you need more of. There'll be a robot to cook it and stuff like that. And I was listening to it and I was like, yeah, fair enough. Like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But I'm sure there will be enough people moving early to capitalize on the way it will sort of sway. So I'm lucky that I'm in a position now where I'm starting to get people into my business to sort of help me to square up a bit of time for myself, so I can keep up with this stuff for sure. So I'm not nervous or anything. I just need to move and be agile with it.
And what's the team look like? Like, is what's the plans?
So one of my goals was, after doing like really deep one-to-one coaching, the same like selling an hour of my time per week, I had two electrician business owning clients who helped me understand what the sort of life cycle of a Sparky is. So my goal since then was to tell my brother about it, and then to get my brother in the business as like I'm going to give him 50% of my organic business basically next year, and just he can work as much as he wants, and like he can have as much income as he wants to sort of scale that. So I can't wait to sort of partner up with my brother. Got Lewis, I call him a head coach, with the intention, like, he's nearly capped out. He's probably got about 15 clients left till he's capped out, so I'm going to get another guy in. And then I've got a PA in the Philippines, Joseph. He's an absolute diamond. Just having he's given him a role where I've taught him a new system that we're going to put in organically, and he's going to do all of the hiring and stuff like that. I'm just trying to really zoom out and just be like, right, like, my next stage of development is to be a good teacher, to be a good coach to my staff and stuff like that. So that's what I'm building in my own mind, basically.
Yeah, man. There's what's the book? I think there's a book like Three Things a CEO Should Do or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. I've got it somewhere. It's worth having a read.
Yeah,
Like, building a team is great. Like, I think you'll do really well, and I think like what I found was that a lot of the skills that I think you learn when you do learn coaching, and you can start to like read people better than most people. Like, again, I think that started for me with sales, then with coaching, and then like with team and that. I think that's huge. I think we built quite a good group, like client base, and then the team all bought into what we were doing. Like, that was one of the things I noticed. Like, everyone was bought in. We didn't, they weren't there just solely for the money. Like they were there because we were doing something good and people were excited. In fact, some people came and worked for us, like, and earning less money initially than they were with what they were doing with their businesses. So, are you excited about running teams? Are you excited about having, like, is it like 10 people, 20 people? What do you have any sort of thought on any
Um,
of this?
I don't know. I've got a so do you know Chris Spearman? He's in our
Of him,
space.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm part of his mentorship, Apollo, and like they're really good. Like he's worked with some people who are doing. There's this one guy called Andrew, and he's doing $200,000 a month. But
Fitness
then there's a
offer.
business like him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like execs in the US. It's mad what he's doing. But he's got a business of I think he's got like 15 staff, and there's loads of moving parts to that. I don't know if my brain can sort of handle that. I'm not really an operations sort of guy. But then there's another guy inside the program who's doing. So basically, I think he's doing like $80,000, but their profit margins are very, very similar. And it's like, do you want all of that over there, all of those moving pieces, or do you want quite a lean business? And I've spoken to the guy on the left, and that's what I'd like to have myself. He's kept it nice and compact, and everybody's singing from the same hymn sheet. It doesn't seem stressful to him, so that attracts me a lot more.
Yeah, I agree. I think we were sort of slightly running before we could walk, and we tried to build like four departments just in one go, and that probably wasn't the best way of doing it. I think we ended up hiring. We weren't great at hiring. Like, it wasn't the people that we hired fault. Some of them were really good, but some of the people you wouldn't have seen, like that, they just were terrible hires, and it was just because we went too quickly. All right. Well, thank you so much. In fact, before we finish, who do you work with, and where can these guys find out about what you do? And what's the name of your brand? I just noticed it on your email. Is this new?
Yeah, I've rebranded from the Evolution Academy. There was no like thought behind that. My brother, as I was coming up with the name, thought it sounded cool. I've rebranded to Executive Performance Academy. It just
Nice.
works so much better because of my company page that all the LinkedIn ads go through. So I've got the www.executiveperformanceacademy.com. It looks proper smart. It looks like I've spent loads of time, but Harry Pereira introduced me to that lovable app, and I made it within 4 hours. So that's a good bit of AI kit that. But yeah, my sole income is coming all coming from one platform, LinkedIn. Like, I was trying to think, like, do I want to? Like, that's kind of the reason why I was so engrossed with your stuff, is because I tried doing the Instagram PT stuff, and look, I'm a confident guy, but it was just a ball ache, man. Like, I just didn't want to do it. So like a platform like LinkedIn where you can sort of go under the radar a little bit, um, yeah, really appealed to me. But now they're pushing a lot more video content, so yeah, I need to start getting my face on it a bit more.
So people can find you on LinkedIn. Do you have a long form? Do you have YouTube? You doing
Nah,
podcast?
it's all part of the plan. Like what a big thing for me was to, like, with Chris Spearman's mentorship, was to really like optimize the systems of sales and stuff like that. And like all of that YouTube content, it will happen, but it's like that's more of like something to build longevity. And I just wanted to get to that point where I could hire people, so then I can properly sort of find the time to grow stuff like that. So yeah, I will be doing that within the next year, I imagine.
Nice. So we can get your links for LinkedIn is basically, and the website.
LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm under the radar, man. Not an Instagram guy. So yeah, it's just LinkedIn.
All right, man. All right. I appreciate you. Well, thank you.
All good. All right, buddy. I'll catch you soon.